Good morning, everyone. So we know that this month is PCOS Awareness Month, and today I'm going to discuss about PCOS, which is one of the most common and leading endocrine disorders in females. And before I hop into discussing a lot about PCOS, I would like to share a few facts which are essential to understand the deep-rooted connection what causes PCOS. So few facts is that our body has 25,000 genes we get from our parents, right? And but however, we get around 20 million genes from our microbes. So essentially, 99% of genes that are expressed in our body are foreign, do not belong to us, they belong to microbes, right? 70% of immune cells live around our gut lining, right? So there's a lot of interaction happening between these microbes living in our gut and our immune cells, right? Helping immune cells differentiate between friend and foe, which is one of the key interaction which takes place when we are developing any chronic disease, right? Uh, third point is that basically it is not about genes what matters, but it is how those genes are being expressed that is what matters, right? And our microbes uh, do influence, microbial functions do influence, you know, how much a particular hormone has to be produced, right? Which it do interact with our gut through vagus nerve, so which helps us, which can also modulate our stress levels, right? So these are few facts we should know, right? So let us discuss about PCOS. So we know that one in every 10 women have a risk of PCOS, and females who have PCOS are three times more likely to have depression, anxiety, as compared to females who do not have PCOS, right? And till now, most of the interventions we relate PCOS with weight gain, with insulin resistance, with type 2 diabetes, right? And we try to suppress our blood sugar. We try to lose weight by fat diets, by calorie deficit diets, calorie counting, high protein diets, and a lot of these things, right? So the first question arises, what makes us develop PCOS, right? So again, the facts which I shared, there's a lot of research which goes into, the gut microbiome, and even the oral microbiome, vaginal microbiome are play a key role in regulating our you know reproductive hormones, right? So uh, if you see, so there are a couple of things you should know is gut microbiome plays a role in insulin secretion, right? It plays a role in follicle development. It plays a role on androgen metabolism, right? So directly there is a connection between gut microbiome and PCOS. So there are certain group of microbes called Estrobolome, right? They release a particular enzyme called beta glucuronidase, which increase the level of estrogen inside our body. So when our gut microbiome is balanced, when our gut microbiome is performing essential functions, you know, optimal functions. Essentially, all the optimal functions, they're not doing the inflammation, they're not triggering the inflammation, right? It regulates the right level of estrogen inside our body. However, when our gut microbiome is imbalanced, right, it can either lead to excess estrogen or low estrogen, deficient estrogen production, which causes estrogen-related pathologies or estrogen-related disease. And when the estrogen production is low, what we call as underactive estrogen hormone, we females start developing PCOS, and the excess estrogen is linked to an endocrine process and infertility. That we are not discussing today, but we'll be discussing focusing more on PCOS right now, right? So this gut microbiome plays a role in uh, in onset and progression of PCOS, right? So if you see if there's an imbalance in the gut microbiome, right? So what I mean by imbalance is, so when there are a lot of foods which we are eating, our microbiome are converting the substrate in the food into various harmful toxins, which leads to production of various, pro-inflammatory metabolites. So we are talking about the functions of the microbiome, not, diversity or the imbalance, the ratio of balance or imbalance. We're talking of the functions of the microbiome, right? Not the alpha beta diversity or which microbe is there. We're focusing more on what they're doing, right? So there are certain metabolites released by our uh, gut microbiome, which either regulates our estrogen or probably suppresses and makes us develop female develop PCOS, right? So one is the most essential one is short chain fatty acid butyric. So it improves your satiety, it regulates your blood sugar level, right? It helps in releasing a lot of gastrointestinal hormones like GLP-1, right? PYY, right? Which we know these slow down your gastric emptying, it regulates your satiety, it controls your hunger, right? So these all regulates your estrogen metabolism, right? So this is one of the most beneficial uh metabolite which is required, which actually comes from when we eat a lot of foods high in inulin resistant starch, dietary fiber, right? Uh, so that is one thing. Second thing is lipopolysaccharide. It is one of the most harmful endotoxin, right? So when we are eating foods which are high in fat, sugar, or even saturated fat, or even in a lot of certain foods which are high in protein, animal protein, right? Probably certain proteobacteria inside the gut, which are the gram-negative bacteria, uh, activates and start converting these, uh, substrates of sugar and saturated fat and all these, certain amino acids into lipopolysaccharides. And LPS actually, when it is diffused in your bloodstream, it leads to, adiposity, it leads to insulin resistance, it impacts your liver function, impacts your kidney functioning, that impacts your eyes. So the LPS is one of those harmful antitoxins, right? And overproduction of LPS is linked to a number of metabolic health issues, including PCOS, right? So when it comes to adiposity, so there is a particular, adipose tissue, which actually, regulate or stimulates your endothelial cell function, right? And endothelial cell is required for your nitric oxide production, which we discussed in our previous talk on Monday, right? It helps in stimulating nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is said to regulate our blood pressure, regulate our insulin sensitivity, right? So if there's a lot of LPS production by the gut, which is into bloodstream, it can, suppress this adipose tissue, right? Which can actually, increase your risk of cardiovascular disease and even type 2 diabetes, right? So again, we have to focus on understand what is the level of production of LPS inside by the gut inside our body. Third thing is the bile acid metabolism, right? So again, in case of uh, females who have PCOS, they have suboptimal bile acid metabolism, right? So essentially, there are a lot of these bacteria like biophilia which are doing pro-inflammatory functions, right? So this is again a so a high, bile acid metabolism, suboptimal bile acid metabolism is connected with even obesity and type 2 diabetes. So third thing is, the gut-brain axis. So we all know the gut and brain are connected to each other through vagus nerve. So and they are there. So vagus nerve is a like a highway. There's a lot of biochemical signals going on from gut to brain and brain to gut. So gut tells your brain how much of, whether you're hungry or full, right? Through various love say various hormones and peptides such as GLP-1, PYY, ghrelin, right? So in case of situation of estrogen imbalance, right? This communication is muddled, right? So essentially, there's an increased production of ghrelin, GLP-1 depletes, PYY depletes, right? There's a lack of communication or a communication gap between gut and brain, which makes us eat, in simple words, eat a lot of things, right? Uh, now how your PCOS is connected with insulin resistance, right? So first thing is your pancreas will secretes the insulin and it does under the instruction of the oral microbiome and the gut microbiome, right? In situations of PCOS, the communication between, the low estrogen, the communication between gut microbiome, the communication between your pituitary producing bacteria and your pancreas is broken, and so your body is not responding properly to insulin. So estrogen play a role in in relaying the information to the cell what insulin is trying to say, right? But when you don't have, in simple words, when you don't have right estrogen production or regulated estrogen metabolism, right? This communication is broken, and that's why you develop risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Even another reason is probably your gut microbiome is imbalanced. It overactivates SPAX, it literally releases cortisol, and when your body releases cortisol, it tells your body that something is wrong. So body shuts all the non-essential systems, right? It starts storing food, and that's how you start having insulin resistance, right? So this is how your gut microbiome is connected, even the oral microbiome, because there are certain microbes in the mouth which triggers the nitric oxide production, right? So if it's not there, probably there's an or it the NOS, the nitric oxide synthase is not there. There's an endothelial cell dysfunction, which again it is connected, leads to cardiovascular disease. And so there's a lot of deeper connection. Second thing, which is really important, is the vaginal microbiome, which nobody has discussed about. So again, vaginal microbiome, unlike gut microbiome, a healthy vaginal microbiome is less diverse, is dominated by lactobacillus species, right? In case of PCOS, it has been found that certain, lactobacillus species, the vaginal microbiome is highly diverse, and the activity of lactobacillus species is suppressed, and it is dominated by certain harmful pathogens such as, you know. Gardnerella vaginalis, right? Mycoplasma, right? There are certain, certain these of microbes in our vagina which actually overactivates and which triggers inflammation, right? So, so you know, so essentially you have to understand that PCOS is not about only weight loss, or losing weight is not equal to curing PCOS, right? Balancing estrogen is connected with your microbiome, the trillions of microbes living in your body, majorly gut and vagina, right? So these microbes regulate your estrogen metabolism. Your gut microbes actually facilitate secretion of insulin, follicle development, and follicle development, and androgen metabolism, right? Again, so gut microbiome has a role to play. Its metabolism is released by the gut microbiome, regulates your estrogen metabolism. If there's a lot of pro-inflammatory activities like LPS, like excess of ghrelin production, depletion of GLP-1, break of communication between pancreas and pituitary producing bacteria, which can lead to insulin resistance. These can trigger development of PCOS. So it is really important to understand your biology at a molecular level, how your microbes are interacting with your hormones, with your what kind of neurotransmitters or hormones or peptides they are producing, right? How they're interacting with the food you are eating and what they are being converted into. That is what matters, right? So, if you want to know more, right, we have a specific product for female which we call as Vagico, where we understand the functions of your gut and vaginal microbiome and give you disease modifying interventions. We address issues like PCOS, infertility issues, preterm births, UTIs, and other recurrent infections, and even certain cancerous situations. Right? So that's it for today. Have a great day. Thank you very much.